it's Jay. Today I will be showing you how I create my webcomic. So for those of you who don't know, I have my own webcomic called Stir Fried Feelings that I post regularly on a platform known as Webtoon. And Webtoon is basically this really cool place. Comic artists and people that love to read comics can connect online. Artists can share their work and readers can enjoy them. So my comic is a kind of slice of life comedy type genre where I make episodes that are loosely based off my life and the experiences I have. So today I'm just going to be making a new episode because I haven't been able to do that in a while thanks to my uni schedule. I'm just going to be running through my process and some of the steps that I do to create a new episode. If you're thinking about making your own comic or you just want to know because you're curious, then I hope this helps you because I know I had to watch a million videos like this before I started creating my comic a year ago, and those were really helpful to me. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to create my comic, there are a couple of things that I use religiously. My iPad Pro, my child. So the software that I use is called Clip Studio Paint, and that has been such a blessing for me to make my comics because I was kind of struggling between softwares, just trying to figure out what works. Clip Studio Paint definitely does for me. So I have a checklist of things that I need to get done in order to publish a new episode. That's thinking of an idea, sketching, the line art, that colors, adding shadows and highlights, and finally any finishing touches so we'll get it ready to go. First up, we have thinking of an idea. The idea generation process is by far the most difficult part of the entire thing for me. I really enjoy making comics, but this is something I really struggle with because sometimes I have lots of ideas and sometimes nothing comes to me. I kind of have an idea of what I need to do for today's episode, so I'm just gonna start sketching and just dabble a little bit, and we can get into the other steps once we're done with that. So first up we have the first round of sketching, and this is basically where I play around with my idea and try to bring it to life. So the canvas I use is 800 by 3840 pixels, and I try to use a resolution of 300 dpi just so that everything stays nice and sharp. Then once I go ahead and create my canvas and add my little title bit, I get into the main sketching part of things. And for this I really like to use the rough pencil brush. Can you call it a brush? And this is basically a default brush that comes with Clip Studio Paint. And in case you were wondering, yes, you do have to make an annual subscription fee of I think about $25 if I'm not mistaken to use Clip Studio Paint. But it's honestly one of the best decisions that I've taken because I do use other softwares like PROCREATE, but when it comes to comics, man, Clip Studio Paint is the way to go. And I think that's because it's designed specifically to cater to comic creation and creating manga, so that just makes my life so much easier. Now we have our second round of sketching, and basically what I'm doing is refining what I mapped out earlier because this will be the final sketch that I base my line art on, so I need it to be pretty detailed. Also, doing this helps me get a good idea on how I'm going to spread out my webcomic because Webtoon has a vertical scrolling format, so I wouldn't want the frames to be either too close together or too far apart. This is by far my absolute favorite part of the entire process, and I like to create a new vector layer on top of the rough sketch that I was doing to do my line art on. I'm using the G pen brush, which is again another default brush on Clip Studio Paint. And why a vector layer, you ask? Well, it's because of this wonderful eraser feature that I feel is nothing short of magical because it helps me erase my pen strokes and gives me really sharp and clean lines. So thank you once again, Clip Studio Paint. Once this is a little more cleaned up, I'll explain the background story for this comic. Basically, all of my comics consist of very random series of events, so it's not necessary that you read the others to understand this one, because aside from maybe the characters and the relationships that they have with each other, every episode has a new story, as you'll see at the end of this video. So while I color, let me explain what this is really about. This episode in particular was something that happened to me while I was going downstairs to grab a few snacks while I was working, and I came across my sister and my parents watching this TV show together. And I hadn't seen this before, so I thought, oh, they're watching a really cute show together. But little did I know, so as I was saying, I kind of did a little double take just to see what they were watching, and I realized there was a pretty steamy adult scene going on, and my sister was crammed up in the middle of my parents, and it was just very awkward and hilarious. But thankfully my parents are pretty chill, so I mean, it could have been worse. So I finally finished. Now all that's left to do is to save it and then upload it, but I can post it later on. So this is the final look or looks, the different folders. That is the thumbnail that I'm using for this episode. And let me just run you through my uploading process. So this is the Webtoon homepage, and I just go onto my dashboard, open up a new episode, and I end up on a page like this. So the first thing I do is add a title for the episode, and then after that I kind of open up my thumbnail and upload the picture that I had done for it. Earlier I had to do all of this on my laptop, but now Webtoon allows you to do it even from the comfort of your own iPad, which is extremely convenient, and that's really nice. So once that's done, I upload my 3 files, and Webtoon cuts it up really nice into 9 pieces for the vertical scrolling format, because I think there's a limit on how big one image can be, so that's done automatically. Next I add a little creator's note, and you know what, comment down below if you can guess what show they were watching, because you're most probably right, a lot of people guessed on the first time, but I haven't watched the show, but maybe it's pretty obvious to others. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it, and next we can preview. So that's all, folks. Thank you for sticking around, and I hope this was somewhat enjoyable, or it helped at least. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!